There were two sides to Miguel Amaya this season. Let's talk about it. One of the most important positions that the Cubs have to figure out this coming off season is the catcher position that is right now held by one Miguel Amaya. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Jones back with another episode of Chicago Sports Central. This is your daily episode. Excited to be here with you guys and to talk some Chicago Cubs baseball with you. Miguel Amaya. Oh my gosh. There's so much to talk about here because he had a really peculiar season. If you ask me, it was almost like I said in the opener, the tale of two different seasons for Miguel Amaya. He started the season off with the Cubs, expected to go split the catching duties half and half with Yan Gomes. Um, and the Cubs had hoped that that Miguel would end up be just taking over the starting catching role and taking up majority of that time at the catcher position, which he did. But it wasn't because he was knocking the cover off the ball or he was framing pitches so good or he was getting guys out with his arms when they tried to steal. It was because Yan Gomes did not continue, was not able to continue his hot streak of offense that he had from last year, where he ended up last year's offensive campaign, where he had a .723 OPS and 10 home runs. But instead, for this year, he posted a .421 OPS in 34 games with just 4 extra base hits. Um, Age caught up to Yan Gomes this year. I don't know if it was just age or what it was, but I mean, he just it just was not a good year for Yan Gomes. I don't know if it was the luck of the weather, just not him not being able to hit the long ball. But I mean, you saw him hitting so many grounders, so many double plays, so many just like easy outs, like to first base. And it was just unfortunate. So, with that being said, the Cubs had a decision to make, and the decision was okay, here you go. It's all yours. So they gave Miguel Amaya for all the pitching duties, and they tried that for about a good 2 months. And like I said, for those 2 months, Miguel Amaya struggled heavily offensively. He just basically brought nothing to the Cubs offensively. He was an easy out every single time he stepped to the plate. His ERA dropped. I'm sorry, not his ERA. His batting average dropped under 200 multiple times throughout that 2 month stretch. It got so bad to the point where they ended up having to bench Amaya in favor of a Christian Bethencourt because it just got so bad. Like I said, by the end of June, Amaya was hitting .189 and was a non-factor at the plate. At the beginning of July, he was benched as he worked with a new tweak in his swing. So he started dropping his leg kick. He took out the leg kick in his load up for just a simple toe tap, and it actually ended up bringing immediate results in the month of July. The 25-year-old went from not being able to really hit the ball at all, not being able to give the Cubs any type of offense, to having a 7 game hitting streak. And from July 7th on throughout the rest of the season, which was 54 games, Amaya slash .282, .331, and .468 with a 124 WRC plus. He had 6 home runs and he had 32 RBIs. So his offense picked up in July and carried him throughout the rest of the season, and he was able to rehab those numbers and end the season with a not so bad ERA. Um, and was able in some of those games to get some big hits for the Chicago Cubs. Christian Bethencourt took some of the responsibility and some of the pressure off of Miguel Amaya, because when he would be catching, I mean, he just always he's a gamer. I just loved watching Christian Bethencourt play. One game that comes to specific mind is the game against the Pirates where the Cubs went down huge in that game. They, like I said, I think they went down either 5 or 6 runs in that game, and the Cubs ended up coming back to win that game towards the end of the season. Uh, Most in part to Christian Bethencourt, who had a 2-run shot in the early parts of the game, and then later on got a big base hit that allowed the Cubs to take the lead. He was very clutch. Christian Bethencourt was this season. Um, and like I said, he added a lot to the Cubs, and I believe he took pressure off of Miguel Amaya, who was basically trying to be able to provide offense every day, but had to go back, change up his swing, go in the hitter's lab, figure some things out, and find out who he was. Um, his month from July 7th on also improved behind the plate as well. He had a 3.62 catcher's ERA, which ranked him eighth among backstops who caught a minimum of 600 innings last year. So behind the plate, he also became a pitcher's best friend, was able to help pitchers out, able to help the guys out with framing, and able to do what he needed to do um, to help the Cubs get more strikeouts and obviously get more wins. The hard part in all of this is we have to ask ourselves, who is Miguel Amaya? Is he the catcher who was hitting below 200, or is he the elite level bat behind the plate and that he was that he was the second half? And that's where we have to ask ourselves. We have to look here and figure out exactly who he is. And it really ain't up to us. It's up to Jed Hoyer and it's up to Craig Counsell to figure out exactly who Miguel Amaya really is. Is he that guy that hit under 200 or and really was a non-factor behind the plate as well, with guys just stealing on him? Or was he the guy from July 7th on last year that was hitting the cover off the ball, was always coming up with clutch base hits when the Cubs needed, and was able to be a pitcher's best friend behind the dish? That remains to be seen. These are things that they're going to have to figure out for the Cubs for the coming season. One thing I know for sure, Miguel Amaya is not an everyday catcher. He's not. And you saw his numbers improve when he wasn't having to catch every day, when he may catch 2 games a series and then be able to take a game or two off after that. Maybe come in and provide, a DH role or a sub role if the Cubs really need it. But he is not an everyday catcher. He is not like what you look at when you saw Wilson Contreras catch for the Cubs a few years ago. He was looked to be something like that, the Cubs hoped that he would turn into something like that or something even better than that, but he just was not able to do so. And so, therefore, the Cubs now have to go find a new catcher. And like I said, that is going to be very much square on the shoulders of one Jed Hoyer, who is right now trying to manage and put a team together for his job, to keep his job and save his job and to get a new contract with the Cubs. So with that being said, Miguel Amaya, his grade for the season, I would go C+. Once again, I told you there will be no A's in my grading system. I didn't see anybody out there that I thought deserved the A on the Chicago Cubs. The highest grade I gave was a B+, and that was to Shota Imanaga. With that being said, Miguel Amaya can prove himself this season. He can, if he can come out and he can get clutch base hits, if he can keep that same form and that same swing and produce results, he can find himself in a better position. But I can tell you right now, the Chicago Cubs are not going to risk this season starting out with just Miguel Amaya behind the dish every day. So that leads you to ask, okay, Mike, well, if they have to go find somebody, how can they do it? Well, that's the second problem. The free agent market actually, guys, isn't too deep this year with great catchers. You got Danny Jansen, who's a career .726 OPS, 100 WRC plus. Then there's a Elias Diaz, who's a career .692 OPS, 78 WRC plus, and the 2023 All-Star Game MVP. They are definitely available this season. Um, like I said, and then there's the option that the Cubs could potentially say, okay, well, we know that Christian Bethancourt can handle the catching duties as well, and our pitchers are already used to him, so maybe we just sign back Bethancourt. But like I said, the Cubs need a veteran to complement Amaya uh in 2025. Then you also have to look at got to look at Ballesteros as well, who is in our farm system playing he'll be playing in AAA this season across 124 games in the AA in 2024 and AAA. The 21-year-old slashed a .289, 3.54, and 3.471 with a .826 OPS with 127 WRC plus and with 19 home runs and 78 RBIs. But the problem is behind the dish, Ballesteros is not polished. He is not ready to come up to the majors and be able to offer you defense. Offense, he's the real deal. Between him and Matt Shaw, the Cubs got some hitters down there in the farm system that they are going to reap the benefits of here in the coming future. However, he has to work on catching behind the plate. So, like I said, we will need to figure the Cubs will have to figure out exactly what they want to do when it comes to Ballesteros. But again, I like picking up Danny Jansen. I think defensively he can help the Cubs. He also is able to his strike zone, the way he squares up the strike zone, the way he frames pitches, the way he helps pitchers. I think that it will be a big help to this Cubs team, especially if we do end up getting a pitcher like Roki, somebody who's young and trying to adjust coming over from Japan. So I think it'll be great for the Cubs if they do decide to get somebody like that, like a Danny Jansen. But who do you guys want to see? I want to hear you guys. I want to know from you. Who do you want the Cubs to sign catcher wise in free agency? I think that this is like I said, one of the most important positions the Cubs have to fill this season. And you theoretically would like to get somebody that can hit and add offense too. Originally, Yan Gomes, the Cubs traded for and signed Yan Gomes because they wanted him because he was so good defensively. He was good at getting guys out that were trying to steal, throwing them out when they were trying to steal second. And he also was great at framing pitches. So you want to get that veteran catcher who can add potentially some base hits as well as hopefully another home run or two, as well as somebody that can help your pitchers out and frame pitches and also throw guys out and protect second and third. So that way the Cubs don't have to worry about guys stealing on them all the time. Like I said, this is just one of those options. Another thing that Jed Hoyer has to worry about this season. I know a lot of people would like to say they would not like to be in his shoes this season. Like I said, it's tough. It's going to be a tough year, but Jed Hoyer has some really, really tough decisions to make. Again, the Cubs have options, but Moises Ballesteros, I don't think he's ready. You could just go ahead and re-sign back Christian Bethancourt. You could also look at maybe an Elias Diaz or a Danny Jansen and bringing those guys, signing those guys who are free agents to the Cubs. Or maybe there's something in a trade that you could do where you could sign a guy or trade for a guy. Maybe you get a catcher in the deal for either Cody Bellinger or Nico Horner. We'll just have to see what the Cubs decide to do, man. It's going to be an exciting offseason. I am literally, guys, waiting on pins and needles for Jed Hoyer to start making some signings. I can't wait until the Cubs start going crazy in free agency. Hopefully, the Cubs go crazy in free agency and we sign some big names that we can get excited about as a franchise and we can look forward to being on our team this season. But guys, I want to know from you, who do you want the Cubs to sign their catcher? What do you want them to do? Do you trust Miguel Amaya all season long, or do you think the Cubs need to add a veteran catcher as well? I want to hear from you guys. Remember, this is Chicago Cubs Central, and we are the voice of the Chicago Cub fan. We can't do this without you. I'm not here without you. So you can leave us a voicemail at 773-389-6954 or shoot us an email at chicagobaseballcentral@gmail.com. Once again, guys, I appreciate you for always rocking with your boy, watching the show, liking, commenting, subscribing. Listen, we are on our way, well on our way to getting that 1,000 subscribers, guys. It's all because of you. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. We're gonna have so much fun this coming season. Do some live calls. Me and Kev gonna do some hangouts. It'll be a good time, guys. You don't want to miss Cubs baseball this coming season. So, and it's coming up soon. Remember, Cubs season starts early, so you want to get all of your ducks in a row ahead of time. Once again, it's Mike Jones. I appreciate you. Until next time.